I am glad to be here, and I was invited to come here today to talk to you, of all things, about the prophecy of the popes and how in the world did Chris Putnam and I predict a year in advance, not only that Pope Benedict would step down, but by the way, we got it actually to the month, and we didn't even know we did. We said in the book, if you read it, which came out before his resignation, we suggested that he was going to step down in April of 2012, citing health reasons, and be the first pope to do so, as you say, in 600 years. When April came and went, we thought, well, we missed the date, but the book's still important. But then when he did resign this year in February, the El Observatorio Romano, which is the official mouthpiece for the Vatican, gave an interview to the New York Times in which they said, well, really, he retired when he returned at the end of March 2012. He did it internally, made it official in April to the Curia, and we had actually got the month right. But there's another story if you read the book, because 61 years ago, a Catholic mystic prophesied exactly when Gloria Olivae, Pope Benedict, number 111 on the prophecy of the popes, would step down. 61 years in advance, he said it'll happen in April of 2012. So, if you read the book, you'll go through a lot of that, and you'll find out that there are other mysteries that we only hint at, that Putnam and I came across, for instance, having to do with the conclave itself, that process by which, that medieval process by which the cardinals go there to St. Peter's Square, sequester themselves into the Sistine Chapel, and they go through that very ancient ritual of electing a pope. And during this last election, there were a lot of questions, people out there asking questions, how does that process work? And you had comedian Craig Ferguson, the talk show host guy. He was on TV, and he was saying, now how does this process work? He says, I know, they have these little papers, right? And they roll them up, and then they vote, and they tear them up. And then they throw them in that thing that they've temporarily hooked up, that stove with the temporary stovepipe that's going up out of the top of the Sistine Chapel. And they mix chemicals with it. And he said, now if the smoke comes up and it's black, they haven't yet elected a pope. If the smoke comes out and it's white, they have elected a pope. But Ferguson said, what would we make of it if all of a sudden green smoke started coming up out of the Sistine Chapel? And Putnam and I put our heads together on that, rolled up little pieces of paper, green smoke. We determined that if that happened, that Willie Nelson had snuck into the Sistine Chapel, and they need to get him out of there, right? Well, okay, that's not what I'm here to talk about, but we did come across other mysteries, I'm just saying, and maybe at some point we'll talk about some of that nonsense too.